finish up, Nancy?
Yeah, my son went in the Army just after graduating from Century High School. It's the first graduating class, and was a combat scout for the 3rd Armored.
3rd ACR.
And out of 4 years, he did almost 3 years in Iraq. They kept extending his tours.
Yeah, I worked with the 3rd ACR.
Yeah,
They got beat on pretty bad.
yeah, really. I mean, really bad. Yeah, he still blames himself because he came home on leave on that second tour, and he was the most experienced scout. And while he was gone, 7 of his buddies were killed.
Yeah. The trivia question: the 3rd ACR was commanded by General Patton,
Yeah.
and that's one of the groups that when we got assigned to him. Actually, we were engineering support for him on one of my tours, and yeah, I think like a 30-day period, they ended up losing like a guy a day was the average. I mean, it got to the point where it was just, and they were right in the middle of it.
Well, in Baghdad, you know, all those narrow streets and stuff, they were
I was about 30 miles north of Baghdad is where I was at.
foot patrolling.
Yep.
That and was also what was harder on everything. What they would, the bad guys would do to the families and little kids.
Yep. And the problem is, it's the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment. They're an armored unit. They're supposed to be in tanks, not on foot patrol, guys.
Well, except the scouts always go ahead of the armor.
Oh, they do.
To protect the armor. They're always on foot ahead of them.
They do.
All right, we're going to begin.
Okay.
Okay, we're in session. I'd ask for a motion to go into BOE.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into the Board of Equalization.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'd ask the deputy clerk to swear the participants in that are going to talk.
Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. So under Idaho Code 63501, the Board of County Commissioners are required to convene as the Board of Equalization. We are here to determine market value under Idaho Code 63205, excuse me, which states that all real, personal, and operating property subject to property taxation must be assessed annually at market value for assessment purposes as of 12:01 a.m. of the first day of January in the year in which such property taxes are levied. Furthermore, under Idaho Code 63502, the function of the Board of Equalization shall be confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment purposes of property has been found by the assessor, and to the functions provided for in Chapter 6, Title 63, Idaho Code relating to exemptions from taxation. The taxpayer shall have the burden of proof in seeking affirmative relief to establish that the determination of the assessor is erroneous. A preponderance of the evidence shall suffice to sustain the burden of proof. We are here to discuss the market value of the property, the condition, the state, or information that is relevant to this topic. This is fact and not opinion. We are not here to discuss taxes, past grievances, policy, personal income, or other issues. If you do not stick to the discussion as requested, your time will be reclaimed. The process will go as follows. The property owner will have 3 minutes to share with us their feelings. Then we can have some questions from the assessor. The assessor will then be given 3 minutes, and then the appellant will have time to ask questions. The rules are to be kind, direct all questions or comments to the board. If your conduct is out of line, you will be warned, and if you continue to your conduct continues to be out of line, you will be asked to leave. So, Gene, go ahead and tell us your name and address in the mic so it's on the record, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
Okay, Gene Stanislawski, 1999 Stevens Street. The main reason I'm here is I just think my increase this year was a little bit on the high side by quite a bit. I just didn't understand how it could possibly go up 57% in 1 year. The property itself, is it okay if I go over that?
That's fine.
There's no lawn sprinkler system. My kitchen needs remodeling. It hasn't been done in about 15 years, or maybe a little longer. 2 bathrooms haven't been updated since 1975, and just a few days ago, I had a major malfunction in one. Unfortunately, it affected both upstairs bathrooms, so we have to go downstairs for a shower now because the drain leaks, and it leaks into the heating system. So we're going to have to try to get that repaired. The flooring downstairs, it's just bare concrete, and it's got some problems with it, chipping and spalling. And the garage is not finished. Majority of all the room doors and closet doors haven't been replaced or repaired since 1970. Actually, not 1974. I put 75 on my paper, but I found out they built it in 74. The driveways, of course, I've got almost 200 feet of side dock in front, and it's starting to spall and chip, and so is my driveway, and it's starting to crack. But anyway, just through the years, 2019, the assessment was 30% from 2018. In 2020, it was 24%, and the appeals board then did give me a 7% reduction on that, which I really appreciated. It helped out. And then in 2021, it went up 24%, which I thought was getting kind of on the high side again. But this year, my appraisal went up 57%, which I don't really see as that's up a little over $90,000, which I think is a heck of a jump for 1 year. Because as you know, us homeowners, we don't, being retired since 2004, pay raises are not very exciting
Yeah.
by any stretch of the imagination on retirement. Now, the homeowners exemption, and I don't know if you guys have any,
Okay, your time is up.
okay.
Did you have one comment there you wanted to make?
Well, just on the homeowners exemption, it doesn't help as much anymore because in 2019, it was 47% of value. In 2022, with this new raise, it's only 33% of value. So it helps, but not like it should when people are on retirement. Is it okay to make one more comment?
I'm going to hold you there. I got to hold to the time limits that we have.
Okay,
I'm going to go to the assessor, and then I'm going to come back to you for a second.
Okay.
Go ahead, assessor's office. If you have questions, you can ask them. If not, your 3 minutes begin.
I think I'm good on questions. My name's Lanita. I am going to present the packet prepared by Jason Speth, and a certified appraiser. As he stated, his home sits at 1999 Stephen. In looking at the comparable sales, they're all similar year builds. His is built in 1975, was when it was completed. Obviously, has 1,357 square feet on the main, 1,357 in the basement, with 1,133 square feet of that finished. Comparable number 2, very similar, same year built, 1975, sits at 2710 Lois Lane. Similar size lots. This one has a little bit more square feet on the main, 1,506 square feet, 1,148 in the basement, which makes it a little bit smaller, but overall, a similar amounts finished of those. Pretty significant price per square foot difference on those. The subject's at $114. Comp 1 is at $127. They all look very similar. They're all in the same area, the Highland area up there. Saratoga, 1670 Saratoga, 1978 build. A little bit smaller of a home. Comes in at $122 respectively per price per square foot. I mean, and the third one is still up there, 2601 South Fairway, right in that area. Very similar in square feet, same year built, same square foot, price per square foot. So it looks like to me that his value is right where it needs to be at the $371,037 for the overall assessed value. And I would just ask that we uphold that value based on the area sales.
Okay. Do you have a question?
Well, I guess my other question is too, were the assessors supposed to go through the entire county and look at, because when I talked to the assessor, I talked to him on the phone. And he said that they were going up all over the county. And my question is, I compared it to a person in Chubbuck on the streets of Eve and Abraham. I know a couple of people out there. And I don't know if you need the tax TAG 002-000. Now, for these two people, their taxes for the year only went up 24%. Mine went up 57%. And are they going to take into account with interest rates going up?
If I may. So they're not talking about taxes. So everybody wants to refer this to taxes.
No.
This is a value of a property. And so
Yeah.
everybody is correlating, and you're making an assumption that the levy will stay the same. Well, the value of the county increased by $1 billion. So mathematically speaking, it has to go down. It cannot change. The other thing is Eve, I used to live on Eve Street when I was a really little kid, is a completely different neighborhood than Stephen, which I used to live on Diane. I actually moved from one to go to the other. And so the problem is you can't compare. That's an apples and oranges. Actually, that's apples and baseballs is what that is. And so the problem we have is they do assess every year. Every property in the county is brought to market value, and once every 5th year on a rotating cycle, they will either drive by or visually look at your property. They may or may not knock on your door, and they may or may not come in. It depends on what's going on. And so this is the whole thing, is everybody wants to compare all this, and that's not the same. The rates of your neighbors up the street by the temple are much different price per square footage than this house. And like I said, as I start looking at this, yeah, you have some issues maybe that in your property that will affect next year's assessment, because this is as of January 1. This is the timeline of here. It does not take into account any property tax issues. Inflation is figured into this because that's also the rate of change of the property value itself. So you have some weird factors here, and that's why you have a market where people are willing to show up and pay cash money for your house and say here, and that's what's happening. I don't know anything else other than the state law says we have to assess it as the current value. Has nothing to do with taxes, has nothing to do with anything else other than that, and it must be compared to like properties. And the properties that are around you, the one on Lois Lane, Saratoga, and Fairway Drive, they're all right next to you in your neighborhood. And so you're actually one of the lowest price per square footage that we've seen so far, coming in at $114 a foot.
Additionally, your land value is $10,000 less than all of your neighbors immediately around you, so you're getting a bit of a price break there.
My only question on that, and you brought up that you have concrete floors in the basement. So is that considered finished or not? I mean, that would be.
And is it the entire
my
basement or a portion of the
The
basement?
entire basement.
The entire basement has no floor coverings now. Is it a
I'll
polished?
take it, one bedroom down there has a carpet, that was it.
Okay. So
I just didn't know how that would relate. That would, and you brought it up, so that's why I'm asking.
Do you have his property record?
So that would be, those are the questions that we're looking at specifically, is the relevant nature of the property's condition, especially where you said you have the flood issue. You're going to have an issue now because that happened in this fiscal, from January 1 to January 1. That's going to be going into this next fiscal year. If BOE next year, make sure you keep how much it costs to fix, the pictures, the everything, what it did, because that's the relative, and talk to these guys about it, and they'll adjust for that. But we're talking parking before that happened, we're always in the rear, and that's the thing that always is not fun.
So if I'm understanding correctly, was the flooring tore out due to the flood?
No, he didn't ever had flooring, is what I understand.
No.
Okay.
Oh, except in one basement, or
Okay.
One bedroom.
Okay, because we were showing a living room and a bedroom and a bathroom downstairs finished.
So you would,
And by finished, yeah, drywall,
yeah,
paint,
but if you're
and
missing a
probably
floor,
flooring,
if you're missing
so
a floor
we can
covering,
adjust for that
there would be a percentage.
off the finish.
You would probably have about a 25% adjustment on floor coverings based upon, I mean, that's usually kind of your
Roughly,
rough, I mean, what you're looking at in your costs.
right, we would just take off like the flooring allowance, basically, and that would.
Can you do that
Is
right
that a
now?
dollar amount?
Do you need a time?
$10,000 maybe for a basement floor.
I don't know if it would take that much off. I'll look.
I was being generous.
Well, I don't know. I looked how much it was gonna be to redo the flooring at my house last night, and I decided that,
Well, everything's
I'll just get
gone
out the
up,
piece
yeah.
of paper, or sandpaper and the, thing, because it's a little too,
Yeah, and that and the labor anymore is just,
if you find somebody to do it.
Yeah, and if you can have people show up.
Well, I would argue that the flooring allowance is offset by the reduction in the property value.
Yeah. No, is that or is that due to, because it's a corner lot?
His neighbor is at 92 and he's at 82.
Well, no, I mean, it's because
His
it's
neighbor
is
on
a
the
corner,
corner
okay.
is at 92 and he's at 82. Everybody around him's at 92 on their lot value. And he's at 82. And he even has one of the bigger ones.
Because typically your corners are the, because you can't use it for as much stuff.
Yeah, his neighbor right behind him is at .27 and it's at 92.9. And he's at .27 and he's at 82. Yeah, he's 82.
Due
that-
to us only having a portion of that as finish anyway,
Uh-huh.
it's only gonna adjust it around $2,620 to take that base allowance for the flooring off, for the amount that we had finished.
Okay.
And the market value.
Are you on the GIS update? Have they updated the GIS parcel viewer?
As far as
Has
values?
it been loaded with values yet?
Yeah, it's got,
It won't until they're
It won't,
certified.
because we have.
Oh,
to
so
look
it's
at-
last year's values?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what you're looking at.
Can you pull the parcel behind, because I'm curious to see if they've adjusted, well, no, if it's loaded with last year's values still. If they've, because last time at BOE, they updated the GIS map halfway through our BOE cycle.
Do you have the neighbors?
Do you have the parcel for the neighbor behind it?
the neighbors.
That corner lot?
Parcel is RPFW 500 1600.
And you wanna know their land?
Yeah. I wanna know if they jumped theirs, if they jumped when the jump occurred.
Their land is at $92,950.
So that's the lands are current then.
Yes.
Well, I'd say the flooring, adjust the flooring and call it good, because then the flooring adjustment's in there. You have it updated in the file that it hasn't been done. And we know
We can
that
save
it's true,
that, yeah.
we know that it's true and correct then in the file.
Do you need to know those?
Yeah, what was the reduction, or what would be the total on the improvement?
No, that's-
So it would adjust it down for a total value of $371,037.
371037.
Correct.
And then you have that noted in the property, so that is,
I can have her save that right now.
so it's
Which-
saved, and so we know that that's there, that there's not a basement flooring there, and it shouldn't be there.
Just say that.
What was that, 371?
371037. Mr. Chair, on parcel RPFW 5001500, I make a motion that we adjusted the value of the property down to 371,037 per the assessor's recommendation.
On the improvement, correct?
On the improvement, that is correct.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Oh, I just say, when we go at recess, sir, if you just hang out for a second, once this is over.
So, we did adjust it down just a little because of the flooring in the basement. So your total now is 371,037. If you're not happy with that, you have the ability to appeal to the state or to the courts. And the assessor has the same ability to do that. And with that being said,
But there was no adjustment made for the shape of the upstairs flooring?
No, just for
That-
the basement. So,
with that being said, this hearing is over. We'll be at recess for a minute if you want to talk.